Hey everyone, Stephanie here again, asking you to hear me out. So today I want to talk about some of the stigma that people in recovery face and what that looks like. Before I continue though, I just want to drop a little trigger warning here. You may hear some things that might set you off in a negative way. If this does happen, please reach out to your support system, whoever they may be, friends, family, groups, NA, wherever, but talk to somebody. Don't let it just sit and kind of fester in you. You know, my friends at Aegis Health Group and I believe that in order to eliminate this stigma, we have to talk about it. So we're all about trying to create positive and safe spaces for those going through the recovery journey, and that's what we're trying to do. So let's get to it. Every time I do an interview, one of the questions I like to ask is, what was the hardest part of your recovery? And I've heard some great answers from, services not being available when they wanted them to be, not having the right supports, not being in the right mindset. Lots of things that kind of were a hard part of the recovery process. If you ask me that question, I'd have to say it was people thinking I was still using. Now, this was super discouraging for me, especially in my first year of recovery. Like most people, my drug use led to bad skin and a bad attitude. And despite losing some of the bad attitude, the skin was still a mess. And, first thing my mom would ask when she'd see a big pimple on my face would be, "You're not using again, Steph." And she'd give me that mom look, that like questioning look. Yeah, mom's look. It drove me nuts because of all the things I was going through. I was trying to stay clean. I was trying to struggle and work through the stress that my use had caused in the first place. And the last thing I needed was accusations. I felt like no matter how good I was doing, I would always be scrutinized. And it wasn't just my mom. My dad didn't understand why I was going to meetings and why I couldn't just stop using. It wasn't that easy, and I couldn't explain it to him at the time because I didn't have the words to explain it at the time. I was still trying to figure out how to communicate to people and how to just be a normal person that didn't use drugs in the first place. The best part was the family get-togethers. Oh man, those were great. I'd be with my entire family and nobody would know how to talk to me. They would not know what to say to me, so a lot of them wouldn't. And the ones that did, there was one family member that actually asked me, "How's that drug thing going?" At the time, I'm sure I came up with some smart ass answer to say, but what I actually said was, "Oh, I'm doing really good with it. Thanks for asking." Because, if I would have said something mean at the family get together, it would have been a horrible fight and then the whole family would have been mad and it would have just caused more problems. But honestly, how do you answer that question? My counselor explained it to me like this. They're your family and they care about you, and that these accusations aren't because of their worry. They're because they're worried about you, not because of a lack of faith. And that made sense to me. It was profound hearing that, and it really changed the way that I reacted to these situations. So in the beginning, they left me feeling mad and defeated. And after having that conversation with my counselor, I started feeling loved and cared about, as crazy as that sounds. Now, eventually through time, my family stopped asking. They didn't have to ask anymore. They could see I was doing good. They knew I was doing okay. I have to say, my mom went to some great lengths to understand the struggle that I went through and is now helping to educate others and stand up and advocate. And I'm so proud of her for this. It's amazing. And if you're watching this video, Mom, thank you so much. You were one of my biggest supports. You really did help me through this, and I really appreciate everything you did. Now, does this stop? Is this where it ends? Do you get to the first year and then all of a sudden people stop thinking that you're doing this stuff? No, that's not how that goes. Recently, even with 4 years and behind me, I was asked to get a drug test by my husband because of some heat rash on my arm. It caused a giant pimple precariously placed in the crook of my arm, and he was worried. So he asked me to prove that I wasn't using. Now, again, I had to remember that this came from a place of love and caring. At first, I wanted to punch him. Why would you even ask me that? It's been 4 years. But at the time, I had to remember. He loves me. He cares about me. He's worried about me. So I went and I got the drug test. And I showed it to him. Now, I'm not usually one to say I told you so. But in this case, I was absolutely happy to do it. Now, it's not just family and friends and things like that. Social media is a great way to connect to supports and like-minded people, but it can also be a very negative and abusive platform. 4 years in, I still have to take breaks from Facebook because I can't handle the negativity and the stigma. It's just too much. We have people posting videos of people in their worst places while others make comments and laugh and say that they're better off dead. Now, I try to educate to the best of my ability, but it is not always easy. A huge reason for doing these videos is to show the world that we can recover, and that the person you found in your backyard trying to get into your shed, he might be there today, but he might be in my spot advocating and talking about this stuff and being clean and in recovery tomorrow. So maybe we should start giving some of these people a chance to do that. You know, it's hard to do when you've got everybody in the world screaming at you that you're not going to make it, you're not worth it. And that's the last thing that we should be saying to these people. We should be saying, keep trying. Now, people think that it's just a life that we choose. Again, I'm saying it's a perfect storm that happens to people who are already hurting. Substance use is just a symptom of that. Let's put some understanding to this. For those of you that haven't ever used or haven't had addiction issues or don't know anything about it, let's just look at it from that standpoint. If you broke your leg, you would be in an immense amount of pain, right? Of course, you have a broken bone in your body. Those tend to hurt quite a bit. The hospital is going to offer you a painkiller. Now, are you going to think about it and say, well, no, I don't want a painkiller because they're addictive and I don't want to get addicted to them? No, you're just going to want the pain to stop. So you're going to take the pill. Well, that's kind of like what addiction is like too. You know, these people are already hurting and they found something that alleviates that pain. They don't care. It doesn't matter what it does to anything else. It just makes that pain go away so that they can function for a few minutes even. Down the line, I want to do a video about what addiction is really like and get into more depth with kind of like that statement, just so people who've never been through it can kind of understand what our mentality is. Because it's not that we don't care about our families. It's not that we don't care about our children. It's not that we don't care about that. We just want the pain to stop. We have to change the way that addiction is viewed. We need people to change their old school way of thinking, and we need to have some empathy, people. A little empathy and compassion can go a long way. Instead of asking what's wrong with these people, ask what happened to them. What happened to them that made the pain so bad that this looks like a better option? And I ask those people that are putting these videos up on Facebook, please stop posting these people at their worst. Let them have some dignity. We don't need the entire world coming down on people saying, oh, you're not worth it, you're a waste of skin. That's the last thing anybody needs to hear, and nobody should ever say that to anybody, especially people who are already hurting. So if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. It's an easy rule. It was something I was taught when I was a kid. You remember Thumper, Bambi? Yeah. Lastly, if you know anyone that needs help, please don't hesitate to call Aegis Health Group. They are amazing and they will help you out right away. So the number for them is 226-946-1000. So everybody, it is hot as sin out here. I am done with this heat and I'm ready to go home and have something cold. So I will talk to you all next week. We have another interview coming up with a local musician named Ricolette. So he's going to tell us a little bit about his story, and I'm looking forward to that. So I hope you're looking forward to that, and I will see you next Friday. Bye.